In the early 1900s, if you were diagnosed with leprosy, you were required by Louisiana law to come here to Carville. And once you entered this facility, you knew there was very little chance you would ever get out.
That was the expectation, that chances are you're going to be here for life, because we didn't have a drug treatment then.
Elizabeth Scheck-Snyder is curator of the National Hansen's Disease Museum at Carville, which occupies a small portion of the once sprawling hospital and research facility. In the early days, the Daughters of Charity helped care for patients, while doctors spent decades searching for a cure. The patients were not allowed to leave the hospital grounds.
They were referred to as inmates, and there were some very strict rules.
Simeon Peterson has lived at the Carville facility for 61 years. Although long cured of Hansen's disease, he is one of a half-dozen former patients who are allowed to live out their lives here. Peterson was diagnosed with the disease at age 6 in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, it was very depressing. You see, when we get in that hospital over there, we couldn't get out. We had to stay. Though my mother was living in the same island, I couldn't go visit her. It was against the law.
In 1951, Peterson and 20 other patients from the Virgin Islands were transferred to Carville, which had become a national research center for Hansen's disease. At Carville, there was hope.
Came here, I had all my fingers. But since I don't have all the feeling in my fingers, I hold things hot and it affects the bone.
Actually, if you lost sensation, then you can damage yourself because you can't feel heat or cold or even an injury. And that repeat injury causes the fingers and toes to basically be reabsorbed into the body.
In the 1940s, Dr. Guy Faget of New Orleans discovered a drug therapy that could reverse the effects of Hansen's disease. It was called the Miracle at Carville. A disease that had stigmatized humans for thousands of years had a cure. Peterson is also disease-free, but for years there were limits on his freedom and physical contact with other people.
My mother wasn't afraid, but my sister, she was afraid. She never hugged me, she never shook my hand.
At age 84, Simeon Peterson knows that one day he will be buried in the hospital cemetery, along with other patients and Daughters of Charity. He now volunteers in the museum, trying to erase the misunderstanding, the fear, and the stigma of a disease that was finally cured at Carville.